Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lisa and I love to document my trips. I started scrapbooking back in 2002 it was, and it's just become a complete way of life for me now, and it's evolved over the years. And what I love doing the most is scrapbooking, documenting, journaling our trips. I absolutely love it, to the point that I've made a career out of it. I am just so passionate about it. And obviously I have been journaling and doing YouTube videos about it for years and years and years. I've got a Patreon based on it, and I sell scrapbooking creative journaling kits every month. But it's become, a lot of people are now asking more and more, coming over from our Disney community, how to scrapbook a trip. Where do you start? And I'm having the same questions over and over again. And so I thought, let's do a back to basics video and just talk about how to start. How to start if you've never journaled a trip before. How to journal if you've kind of like done journaling and scrapbooking before, but now this is a question that I get asked a lot. When you've been on numerous trips, where do you start? You've sort of got behind with your trip scrapbooking. How do you pick it up? A lot of people say they've collected so much they don't know what to do with it. There's just so many questions that are similar, and also for those that do scrapbook and journal but they haven't done for a while, and how do they pick it back up again? So we're going to cover loads and loads. I have taken your questions down as well. I did some questions on Instagram on my own Lollipop account, and also on our Aiden Lisa Do Disney account the other day. And again, it's the same questions that are coming through constantly. So we're going to talk about all of it today. I am going to be showing you some examples. You don't know what you're letting yourselves in for, seriously. My sofa is just full of examples to show you. It's not just a hobby, it's not just a lifestyle, it's, I'd say, an addiction. I am so passionate about it, I really am. It's not only wonderful to be able to look back on your memories. For me, I see it as you're having double the fun. You not only get to go on these amazing trips, you then get to document them. And you end up with things like this. And you're having so much fun when you're creating, going back over the stories, pulling out the bits and pieces, the maps that you've picked up, the menus, and you're making all your memories into a special scrapbook or journal, and you've got them then to look back on. So it's like having double the fun, and it's also really good for you. It's just having that creative time. And so many people say they're not creative. You don't have to be creative. It's come with me over time. I will show you my first ever scrapbook so you can see it, and you'll see how much it's adapted and changed over the years. And I would say that my style and everything is constantly evolving, always changing, as is the hobby. These journals weren't a thing when I first started 20 odd years ago, and everything is so much more relaxed now, but we're going to talk about it all. Once I get talking, I find it hard to stop talking about it. But I want to show you some examples. I want to show you what you can make. You don't have to be creative. You don't have to do massive, great big journals. There's more simple ways to do it. There's something for everyone. But the most important thing here is you tell your stories. You document your stories and all your amazing memories, and then you've got them forever and ever. It's a wonderful hobby. It really is. Go and grab yourself a cup of tea, and I'll show you some examples, and I'll go through your questions as well. I really hope you'll enjoy this. I will give you other different video links to maybe look through of examples that I've made before. I've got so much to help you, so I really hope that you will find it helpful and inspirational, as I'd really love you to make your own scrapbook or journal too. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. And if you are into Disney and you haven't found our other channel, Aiden Lisa Do Disney, it's where we do all our vlogging of our trips. So the first question is how to choose. I'm going to show you the different kind of choices, and because for some of you, you may not even know what your options are. So you've got like a traditional 12 by 12 scrapbook where you have the great big pages in there. They're really cool. Plus side, you have loads and loads of room to document in. It's amazing. Downside, they are very big. I have got so many of them now, and we're talking about moving house, and one of my biggest things is about taking all these scrapbooks and what on earth are my kids going to do with them in the future. My friend Alex actually keeps one for his Disney trips, and he was telling me the other day he just adds to them. So I don't think he does loads and loads of pages. I used to do almost like a page for everything. I will go through and show you them. Let me show you some examples now actually, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is a very typical 12 by 12 scrapbook. I refer to it as traditional scrapbooking. And I would make a page based on pretty much everything. So I've got our pre-travel, talking about how we'd been counting down. We were at 500 and something days at this point. Everyone thinks we go on holiday all the time. We used to actually have our trips every 2 to 3 years up until very recently. And then, so I've done like just on an elevator selfie, lift selfie, and then our pre-dinner. So I would often focus my scrapbooking pages upon one photo or memory at a time. So the building where we always like to stay at Bahama Bay. And I find that with scrapbooking, you've got the advantage you can often include larger photos. And I would find that I didn't do quite as much storytelling with the scrapbooks. It would mostly be about the photos, as you can see. There's a few photos there. But I find that with journaling, I focus a lot more on the storytelling. I have got me writing up about first day excitement there. This one was Louis doing his selfies. These are all 2014. So you can see here, the emphasis is very much upon the photos. It is nice having a large amount of space to play with. It is really nice. And they come in these plastic covers, which is great. But one of the downsides is they aren't so interactive. So if you've got flips and things, obviously they are behind a plastic wallet here. I would show you my very first one. I did actually create two for this trip. It was our wedding trip and the kids were really little, and you can really see how my style has changed. This was 2007 and it was very, very basic. You don't have to be super creative to do this kind of thing. As you can see, I have literally just printed photos. Let's take this out actually so you can see better. Printed the photos. I've added a little bit of paper behind, and I've just printed this off in Word to add, and I've added one of the little leaflets from the resort where we stayed. Very, very basic, but it tells our story of the trip. Our first morning in Orlando, we were all awake by 5 a.m. So we got unpacked, had an early breakfast and explored the Bahama Bay resort where we were staying. And there's the kids. And I photographed where we were due to be getting married in a week's time. This was 2007. So as you can see here, there's not even any journaling at all. Just the children having so much fun in Islands of Adventure. So I'm just going to give you a little flick through. And like I said, you can really see how my style has changed. These are our tickets. So don't think you have to be super creative, and don't let that put you off either, because what also looks amazing to one person, another person will have a completely different style. And you have to remember, one of the key things to remember, it's your memories. They are your memories that you've made, and you're making this for you and your family or yourself, just yourself. There's a map there that I've used for Animal Kingdom. And it's just wonderful for you to be able to look back on. We spend so much money on these trips. We spend so much time planning these trips. Do you remember the Animal Kingdom parade? Yeah, I think it's really, really cool if you can document them afterwards. So that gives you a quick look through, as you can see, how scrapbooking looks. If you do like that option and you feel they're a little bit on the large size, you can get smaller ones. You can find albums in A4, for example. They're not quite as easy to find. I've got a little 6x8. This one is a pocket binder, and this one isn't Disney. This was just one that I was doing for day to day. And as you can see, you've got all the little pockets there, which a lot of people also really enjoy. For me, this was 2017. I found this a little bit too time consuming. I actually preferred the larger pages, but some people swear by this, making pocket pages. It really, really suits them. But I just wanted to show you this as another example. You can do a smaller size. Another option, if you're liking that smaller size idea, this is a £6 journal, binder, planner, whatever you want to call it, from Primark. You can always find these in plain colours. They do different Disney ones. And I've gone for, this is like a mix of scrapbooking and journaling. I've used my own pages. Again, this isn't Disney. This is just day-to-day storytelling. I've used my own papers and I've created my own holes. So I'm making like scrapbook pages, but in like journal size. So this is an A5 size. And I've really, really enjoyed doing this. So I'm still able to do the flips, but it's not quite as big as the larger scrapbooks. I really like this, kind of like a mix between the two. And you can pick up these planners, like I said, really cheaply. And then you can just use, I've used scrapbooking papers, I've used my own kit papers. I just really, really like making these. I've really, really had fun with these. Oh, and whilst I'm stood here chatting journals with you, I just wanted to let you know that I am organising an online crop. A crop is when you get a group of people together that scrapbook, journal, and we have 2 of those monthly anyway in my Patreon, but we're going to actually have a special one dedicated to Disney. A whole afternoon of scrapbooking and chatting Disney. We're just trying to organise the dates, but it will be for those in my Patreon. So I will leave a link to that below if that interests you. I'm really, really excited. But if you do like the idea of crafting with people, have a look at my Patreon, because we talk about documenting trips, about documenting our everyday. We talk about it every single day and it's so much fun. There's loads more content over there, and we have a whole section of Disney, and my top tier get early links to all our Disney videos as well. So that's scrapbooking. Now there's also journaling as well. And if you're wondering what the difference is, I think that's entirely up to you, to be honest. You could do scrapbooking in like a journaling form, but I personally, and I know a lot of other people that I speak to, they find journaling a lot more free. I feel with scrapbooking, you've got your big paper and you tend to do this. It's more about the photo and the design. Journaling, I feel I have so much freedom. Literally anything goes in a journal. I know with scrapbooking you always want things to be neat and tidy. That's another question I've been asked about. So many people have said that they find that with scrapbooking it's taking them so long because they are a perfectionist. Throw your perfectionism out of the window. When it comes to journaling, you can be as free as you want. I feel there are no rules when it comes to journaling. I've got some different types of journals to show you, and I'm actually preferring how much more relaxed I feel with a journal. I do feel like anything goes. I don't have any rules. And the other thing that I swear by, reminding yourself, 1, it's only paper. Don't get hung up on perfectionism and whether everything is straight. You're making it for you. And remember, it is only paper. If you stick something on upside down, just tear it off, turn it back around. If you make a tear on the page, pop a sticker over the top. It's not the end of the world. If you make something and you decide that actually you're not that keen on it, start again. It's only paper. It's not the end of the world, but don't let it hold you back from documenting your memories. And the other thing to remember is you are making it for you. It's not an exam. You're not being graded on it. You're not having to present it in front of a hall full of thousands or hundreds of people. You're making it for you. So just remind yourself about that. Don't let it hold you back from telling your wonderful stories. It will be such a shame if that's the one thing that's holding you back. Right, let's have a look at these journals. So here's some examples of journals. Would you believe me if I told you that these journals started off life like this? Let me just open this up. So I have these for sale in my online shop, which I will link below. Cute little journal. These are my favourites by Simple Stories. Really pretty. This was my first ever journal. This was 2018 of using a traveller's notebook. Sorry, these are called traveller's notebooks. This was my first ever one. I made the mistake of making it very, very bulky and not extending the spine. We'll talk about that more in a bit. If you are happy just to stick photos in, write a little bit, these will be perfect. I then moved on to these ones. These are from 2019, and I've used a traveller's notebook cover here, which holds it together. But this worked really well. This was our 2018 trip. We started in Georgia. We started and then went on to Tennessee and ended up in Florida. So that's all of that there. It's very bulky though. I really did put too much in, and I ended up having to do some serious surgery on this one. So then for 2019, I went into these covers, which were great. Really liked it because I've just realized that's upside down, isn't it? You've got the pockets here, so I've got like Alcatraz tickets, I've got the cable car. This was from our California road trip. Krispy Kreme donuts. I've even got the Joshua Tree National State Park, the little leaflet, the newspaper that I picked up. So I've managed to put quite a lot in here. And then at the front here, this was all basically from our road trip, and I've got like what do you call these, business cards. I've got parking ticket from where we stayed, so I've collected all sorts. Aerial tramway from Palm Springs. I've even got the hotel room keys from Premier Inn. I've got all sorts in here. I've picked up a Alcatraz leaflet there, and then I've documented this trip in here. Having it in the cover actually holds it together quite nicely, and you can kind of see here that I'm doing a little bit like scrapbooking, but also with my storytelling, and you can also see how I tell a lot more stories in my journals. And then I've also got a lot more interaction with them, because you can do that in these journals. I include a lot more smaller photos rather than the larger photos, a lot more bits and pieces to pull out. I really enjoy this kind of thing. There's a little envelope in here, so that pulls out as well. I've got a lot of these, that's from whale watching. I've got a lot of these pages, these videos actually. I think these are on my other channel before I started my scrapbooking. But as you can see, I've really told a lot of stories in lots of different ways. So this is a very typical traveller's notebook journal. So I hope that kind of explains what that is. We then move on to mini books. Mini books are something else. For me personally, it's about making up a little book that just tells a particular story. So I quite often can make them in one sitting. They don't actually take me too long. I make sure I've got all the papers, all the photos, and then I sit down and make them, and I can generally make them over a couple of hours. This one here, I've used, you can get some of the scrapbooking collections, Simple Stories, Echo Park, you can get some really good ones, and you've then got everything that you need to tell your stories. This was our 2017 trip. This was a stay that we did, our first proper on-site Disney stay in 2017. We had the dining plan, and we stayed on site for 6 nights. So I actually documented the whole of those 6 nights in this little mini book. I thought that would be really fun. I do have a separate scrapbook that I also did, but I really wanted to capture this special 6 days in this mini book. This was where our love for Disney really started, or at least our love for staying on site started. We'd been going for 10 years prior to this, but this was our first proper stay on site. So you can see here, it is a little bit like journaling. and all the pages you've made up yourself. It's really, really fun. We've got this one as well. This was an online class that I did. This was our September 2019 trip. Again, this was a week that we stayed. This was after our California trip. And I hope you can kind of like feel the difference between scrapbooking and journaling, and also now mini books as well. Again, I do love a flip. They're just so much fun to make. Got a little cello bag there where I've kept a park map each. It's really cool to keep the park maps because it's just so interesting looking back and seeing the changes. So again, I haven't got as much journaling in my mini books. I tend to keep the majority of my journaling for some reason when I have a journal. And this one, I have typed it all out. Something else that holds people back sometimes is because they don't like their handwriting. Print it out on Word. That's exactly what I've done here. And stick it in. I've used a free typewriter font and just stuck it all in. So again, don't let that be the reason to hold you back. I've even done a little screenshot there of how quiet the queues were for Animal Kingdom. So yeah, that is a mini book. And then this particular road trip, this was our 2018. I actually made a mini book for each section of the trip. So we've got Atlanta to Chattanooga and our Chattanooga stay. I've then got another one for, well, that's a Disney one. I've then also got this one for our 2 nights in Savannah. Again, there's a coffee sleeve. You can see this one. I find, again, I'm a lot more relaxed with this type, as you can see. I don't mind so much with my handwriting. I've always felt that scrapbooking needs to be super, super neat, but I feel a lot more free with this kind of documenting. And I even used a paper bag here to document 2 nights stay in Wilderness Lodge. We extended the trip, and again, you can see here it's really quite basic. I haven't gone over the top, and you can see how my style constantly changes. This was in the room that I included. I haven't gone super crazy like most of my other pages. I've kept it really quite basic, but I just really wanted to document our 2 night stay we had, and that was also when we signed up for DVC as well. So it was a special trip, so I wanted to document all of that. And yeah, so I did it like that in this little mini book that started life as a brown paper bag. Got another mini book here actually. This one is also just made from scrapbooking pages. Have I even put a date on this one? Number 1 tip, always include a date. I don't even know. Oh, this was 2018. I recognise the Grove Hotel. Again, you can see here that not masses of journaling. It's all been typed. And like I said, all you need is a good collection of scrapbooking papers. Print off a few photos and then stick them in. It doesn't need to take hours and hours. And you've got your trip documented. And you don't have to go crazy with decorations. This is a Mickey punch that I bought from Amazon. I have got quite a few videos of mini books and things, so I will include them for you because I share lots and lots of tips on how to make easy mini books. You don't have to go crazy and spend days and days and days on them. You can do something like that in a couple of hours. And I bought this, by the way. This was a beer crate from Poundland for £1, and I painted it white and stuck scrapbooking paper on it. And that homes quite a few of my mini books. I'll just show you this as well. I even created a mini book out of a pizza box from Disneyland Paris. I included loads of packaging. This is also on my channel as well. I'll leave the video below. This is just making up pages again with scrapbooking paper, including bits and pieces the postcard that was in our room at Sequoia Lodge. That was a bread roll packaging from the Main Street Deli. More packaging that I made then for a tag. You can really make these journals out of anything. They're so much fun. They really are. And again, this didn't take me very long either. Once you've got your papers, just stick in the photographs, add your stories, and you're all done. I was really chuffed with this one. And then I started a different type of journaling. We were talking about it lots in our Patreon community, and lots of people were using little golden books. And then I fell down the little golden book rabbit hole. This was my first one that I created for our Disneyland Paris trips, which I love. I still haven't finished this one. That's something else that I will talk about as well. But I just wanted to give you a quick look through. Now, the thing that suits me so well with this type of journal is that you make the spine yourself, so it can be as large as you want it to be, and it gives you so much more room to create, unlike the journals, the traveler's notebooks that bulk out. So I wanted to do one for all of our trips in 2022, so I made this huge, great big chunky spine. You can see it's this one here. This is the one that I show quite a lot because I'm still working in it. I absolutely love this journal. I've got 3 trips in here. It's very big. I should maybe have gone with a larger spine, but you can see here that it's such a free journal. It really is. It is full of stories, memorabilia. That's made from a map there from Old Key West. I absolutely love this journal, and I'm still working in it. I still pop in from now and then, depending on what mood I'm in. I've got maps there. I love it. Sick bag from Virgin. There's all sorts of bits and pieces in here. That was actually from a napkin that I've glued on. And then we've got some of the original pages in here as well from the book. I love this. It's just so much fun. We've got Epcot there, the Kids Stop Kidcot bag there, and we've got Flower and Garden, more maps. So this is my favourite way now to do journals, to actually use a book, take out the spine, create then my own spine, just to give me so much more space. This is my favourite way now to create a Disney journal. So I hope that's helped explain what the different options are. You could even use a notebook. You can pick up a notebook anywhere and just use the pages there to document your trips as well. Anything goes, as long as you get your stories down. So I think for the question where to start, decide how you would like to do it. Decide how long. Is it something that you just want to make a little mini book and just add a few photos, and it's something you can do in an afternoon? Is it a project that you would like to have going over time? That's also an option as well. And then obviously something like a scrapbook, I feel just goes on forever and ever and ever. You can just keep going with those. Where a journal, you kind of have your pages there, and so you've got a set amount to do. So I feel like they take less long than a scrapbook, if that makes sense. Mini books are the quickest, then you've got your journals, and then your scrapbooks. So once you've decided what you want to use, choose your photos. Remember to use free prints. Free prints are so good for documenting your trips. I use the Canon Selfie app, and I go to the shuffle option, and then you can create your collages there, as you can see. And you can put as many photos. I think they can even go up to 20. I always like 5, but sometimes I might do 2 or 4, or sometimes just 1. And I will use these in my journals, and then you can cut out the smaller ones, which is so much easier for journaling. You can get up to 45 prints a month for free, and you pay $3.99 for postage. And it's just so good, especially if you've got 5 per sheet. That's 45 of those. That's a lot of photos. I highly recommend you do that. And you've chosen what you're journaling in, you've got your photos, and then all it is you to then pop your photos in your journal and make a few notes. You don't have to do essays. You can just write a few bits and pieces like I have done on my first scrapbooks. It's entirely up to you. Some people are happier journaling than others. But you might find as well, if you're new, that it comes to you gradually. So start with dates and names and things like that, and then see how you go. If you're really uncomfortable, you can always pop your stories behind your photos. You can tuck them under, that kind of thing. You don't have to have your handwriting out on display if you don't want to. For those of you that are feeling super overwhelmed, and maybe those of you that have done a lot of trips and you really don't know where to start, I really recommend doing a journal that's completely random. This is one of my most favorite Disney journals. It's not in any order at all. And this is something I also recommend a lot of people to do that feel overwhelmed, that feel behind. Start with a journal and just start. Pick a photo. Doesn't matter from what year. Pick a photo if you're drawn to it and start with that one. And then make a journal but have it in no order. If you've got photos from all over the years, you may not even know what date it is. Does it matter? They're your memories. If you've got a special photo and you remember meeting Winnie the Pooh for the first time, for example, pop it in there. It doesn't matter that you don't know the date. You can roughly see when it was by looking at how old you were. But just write, first time meeting Winnie the Pooh. That's all it needs to be. Don't let those kind of things hold you back. Just do it. The only thing that's holding you back is you. I'm going to show you now my completely random Disney journal and explain to you why I love this one so much. So this one is one that I made myself, and it is completely random. I have got photos from Disney from all over the years. I've started with the very first place that we stayed in 2007, and it's actually a postcard. I found a postcard, so I popped that in there. Postcards are really handy actually. Pick them up. They're really good to add in your journals. Oh, let's tuck that back in. And then I start off with a photo of us. A lot of these were actually original photos that I had from when you actually had them developed. And I had loads and they weren't doing anything. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to start popping them in. And I had this idea just to make a completely random journal with no particular order, just as and when I fancy taking something. So we've got 2007. And I love this journal so much. So many happy memories, but some of them were photos that maybe didn't make the original scrapbook as well. Some of them might have been duplicates. I still want to create on there, but I'm coming back and forth to this one. So this one, I think these were 2014 and that one's 2017. Does it matter? No. I'm really happy with it. I love this journal. It's just so much fun. I've got little pulley out bit. This, see what I said about hiding your journaling? It's actually called hidden journaling. I've got a whole story there, which I've just popped in an envelope. And the envelope's just been taped to the side there, so that becomes a flip. I really love this journal. It gives me a real sense of peace, this one, which is crazy because it's so random with photos from all over the dates. But it's my one that I find the most relaxing. I really, really do love this one. It makes me really happy. I always tell everyone in my vlogs about how special the Nemo ride is. And that was when we went on it on our own for the first time. I was so emotional. I still cry every time I get off that ride. I miss the kids so much. I've got all the photos from all over the years. That year Holly was too grown up. She decided to go in that one. And then we've got one with just the two of us. So yeah, it's just really, really special. You know, the boardwalk photo booth, that's from there. I love this one so much. I forget which ones are flipped sometimes and which ones that aren't. It's from Mickey's Not So Scary. They really are. So I've jumped from Mickey's Not So Scary from, I think that might have been 2019 to 2007. Does it matter? No, of course it doesn't. It's my journal, so anything goes. Got a bit of fabric in there. But no, if you are feeling overwhelmed, I've still got spaces, so I'm actually going to be creating in this one next. That's a video for Thursday that I want to talk to you about how to journal when you've lost your inspiration. So I'm going to give you some ideas of how to start a page. So that one will be coming next on Thursday. I think that one's come out from somewhere. Maybe that was taped in. I think this journal needs putting back together again. But start a random journal. It really, really helps. Even in day-to-day journaling, if you've fallen behind, give a random one a go. And if you've got photos, pop them in, tell your stories. It's so much fun. It just gives you a real sense of freedom. Like I said, I find this one my most favourite out of all of them. So if you've got loads of trips to document, you don't know where to start a random journal and just start. And the main thing is, like I said, you get your stories told. So the next question that's been asked is what to collect when you're on your trips. I have got so much stuff. Every trip I start a new bag. This one is from October 2022. The one thing I always do, I take a little Ziploc bag for receipts. We make a note every day of how much we've spent, and then I put all the receipts together in a little Ziploc bag. So then I bring them home and then I can include the receipts in my journals. I always take a Ziploc bag on holiday with me as well. So any memorabilia goes in there in the suitcase. So I always know where it is. I don't end up then with things in a bag, the other things in rucksacks, other things in like my wheelie bag, other things in my suitcase. Everything is together. So then when I get home, I then transfer it into a little bag. And the things that I like to collect, I've got all sorts. Everything from bags, that's our Earl of Sandwich bag. This is obviously another bag that was from the Riviera when we went shopping. I have got luggage tags that was left on our suitcase when we resort hopped. Sometimes you get some really cool ones. I've got orange ones and I've had blue ones in the past. We went to the Titanic and they had these that you could take. They were for the kids, like little dot-to-dots. So I took one of those. I haven't journaled that page yet. Obviously boarding passes. If you meet any characters and you get the autograph postcards. You've seen me use this in one of my journals before. The Quidco little bags are really good. And if you go around the countries in Epcot, you can pick up the sticker, like little sticker postcards. They're really, really cool. I've got a few here that I will include. I have got other videos actually of all the stuff that I bought when I come back, so I'll include a link to those too. In The Seas by Nemo, you can collect a little booklet when you come off the Nemo ride, and there are stickers inside that you can use. Paper bags, I use those a lot as pages and pockets in my journals. Don't forget your park maps, I use those all the time as well. If there's a festival on, pick up one of these in Epcot. And who doesn't love a coffee sleeve? I've got so many of these. I've even turned these into mini books before, just on their own. But yeah, pick up the leaflets. If you've got a local newspaper, any maps. I had some really good maps in our February and March trip. Oh, and ask at the resorts as well, because they have maps as well behind the lobby counters, and they will give you these. We went to St Augustine and there was a lot of places where they had free maps as well. So I've got these maps, are my favourite things to collect. And the other thing we also do actually, like we've done it before where quite a few places where you're given, like Sleepy Hollow, they have the cutest wrap to go with your waffles, and A generally goes and collects the food, and he'll always ask if he can have a clean one. He says, my wife's a scrapbooker, and everyone's always like, oh wow, yes. And sometimes like in what's the donut place called in, oh my mind's gone blank, the Pink Place in Universal, she was so sweet, she kept wanting to give us stuff. And she was really lovely. But yeah, ask. People are more than happy to give you a clean napkin or a clean paper bag. Quite often we do keep the originals and like trying to keep it clean and keep the icing off. But use them in your journals because they are then filled with even more memories when you start documenting your trips. Anyway, I have gone on so much. I really hope this has helped you, and it's not just for Disney trips, it can be for any trip. Just start. The only thing that's holding you back is you. Remember, it's only paper. Remember, you're making it for you, not a competition. And just get your trips down, get your stories told. It doesn't matter what order. Just get them done. The only thing that's holding you back is you. I really hope you find this inspiring. I can't wait to hear. Have you decided? Are you going to scrapbook, journal, make a mini book? Let me know. And if you've got any questions, please ask. I will leave all the links below. I've got my online shop, my Patreon. I've got loads of other videos as well. Everything is there for you, and I'm more than happy to help. Just ask me. Thank you so much, and I will see you on Thursday with a new page in my random Disney journal, and we will talk more about how to find inspiration, how to get going, and just things to give you a bit of a kickstart if you're struggling. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.